Hello and welcome to the B-Bun, episode 46. I'm your host Baron Marf and I'm joined as always by my compadre in arms, the legend that is the angriest of Links. Angry Link, how are you doing, buddy?
Full of colds and coughs and sniffles and toxic-y green goo slurging from my face.
And many, many colours of a cold.
Yeah, other than that though, it's been pretty much bashing out the Yakuza 0.
Okay.
So finished that off this week. Well, the story. I didn't finish it. I'm tempted to completion it, 100% it, but you know, there's some. I've already put I think 50 odd hours into it, so I don't know. It'll probably take another 50 for me to actually eventually do it.
That's a fair amount of a commitment.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff to do.
Sounds like you enjoyed it.
No, it was really good. I did really enjoy it. I love the offbeatness to counter the somewhat serious, gritty. Twist-filled Yakuza world. So, you know, it was a good, enjoyable game. I'm looking forward to the remake of the first one that's coming out soon. Westwards? Yeah, I think it's this year. So I can then carry on with the story and hopefully they continue to then make the others so I can keep going through in order. But, you know, there's still a few to play. I know 6 is going to be out later this year as well. So, you know.
It's like I said, it seems to have definitely reeled you in.
Yeah, but I will be putting it down for a bit though because I recently acquired Dragon Quest Builders.
Cool. Okay.
So I was really impressed with the demo a few weeks ago when I played it. Saw it for a bit. Saw it going for £30 for a disc copy. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab that. Not really done a great deal. All I've done is got to the point where I've just got past where I was in the demo and sort of just like right, no, put that down, finish off. Yakuza first.
So one more time, what was Dragon Quest Builders actually about? What was the crux of the game?
You've basically got to rebuild the world. There's been a great catastrophe and plague and famine and all of these bad things have befallen the world. You're the only person that can build and create stuff. So you then got to go forth into the world and try and rebuild it. So it's all done into chapters. And then obviously you've got each little section you've got to achieve certain things and then obviously you'll move on to the next one. Obviously I haven't even got the first chapter yet still, so but the only other thing I've been playing is Fire Emblem Heroes.
Okay.
Obviously it's a great little sort of 30 seconds to a minute game each. It's a perfect game whilst you're like making a cup of tea or something like that, so you know I've just been plowing through that, managed to snag a few decent characters. Obviously, I didn't think to do the whole reinstall, re-roll until I get some good characters because, you know, I can't be fucked. So I've stuck with what I've got. But, I managed to get a few. But being a gacha game, I've picked up an awful amount of shit that needs to be rid of. So, but it's one of those that's kind of standard fare, really.
Yeah.
I mean, probably going to be sticking with the PS4 this week. I mean, it's where I've spent all my money recently, so I've actually
played some of it.
Yeah. But other than that, you know, I noticed though I've got 34 bloody PS4 games already, and I've not even attempted to try and build up a backlog on that.
That's how it goes.
Oh, God damn these PS Pluses and gold fucking things that keep giving me games I'm never going to play.
But I'm never going to delete.
Exactly. I've got the space. Fucking yeah, I'll have it.
Might as well use it.
Sadly. How about yourself?
You know, I'm going to astound the listener by saying Gears.
How's it been running though? Because you changed all your setup recently, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's running smooth now, smoother than a baby's bum. So just that straight onto Horde. Scout is kind of like the I'm going to go out and get in the mix sort of character. I've got double damage on my shotgun. I've got like double life. I've got quicker health regeneration, so I've got like shooting people gives you 30% of your life back when you double that up with shotgun power. It basically means that I can stand in a crowd of enemies and with them all shooting me, as long as I'm shooting somebody, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Which is exactly my style of gameplay, which is no concern for my life, just
cover
kill.
Yeah, it's like the game that sort of spawned the cover shooter.
That's right.
Yeah, no, we won't use that system.
Completely ignoring that.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So, and just loving it. I went through hardcore levels 1 to 10 on Horde on my own the other day.
Nice.
And was just quite happily sat there just ripping up the enemies, like all making them all bottleneck through this one area and just locking it down with my shotgun.
Nice. Spot on.
Yeah, so that, and then it's just really been Neo and a bit of For Honor, which we'll touch on a bit more later. But yeah, not a great deal. Haven't got back to Skyward Sword. It's worrying me. I want to
I was going to say, you
keep momentum on that.
Really gung-ho with that last week.
Lots gone on this week, Link. A lot's gone on. There's a lot of gaming to be played.
But it's just exorbitant amounts, though, I'm finding. You're like, right, I'm going to sit down and play that. Oh, this is out. And that's it. Your fucking mind's gone.
I also got distracted looking at Dishonored 2, going back saying, why did I never play that? I need to play that game.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit like that.
So I think we've got to start, at the end of the podcast, we've got to make little promises for the week ahead.
Yeah, actually
and
commit.
Have like a gaming version of a swear jar. If we don't at least complete 3 or 4 hours of said game, we have to put in £1.
No. Yeah, no, that's going to cost me
a fortune.
Yeah.
You already played GTA, more than fucking...
Yeah, especially if I start making bets on things like Galgun Double Piece and stuff like that.
Oh, God, yeah.
I've got to go back to it. It's going to cost me money. Of course it is. Right, look, let's bust on over to Bullet Bill's Big 3.
Yes, we should do that.
Let's go. Bullet Bill's Big 3, Bubba. And we're on the news. First bullet hole, Link, what we got?
Really surprised. Well, not so much of a surprising one, but I am surprised. E3 is now going to be open to the members of the public.
Yay!
But not like this little crappy side tent where you've got 3 games that no one wants to play or that have already been out and they're just showing off DLC.
Right, this is more like Night of the Living Dead, Horde based.
This is, the full flavour. I'm really going to despair at humanity.
Game.
So, there's 15,000 public public tickets. Because obviously previously it's been a trade show affair.
15,000, that's a lot of people.
That is, as is always the way, the only reason that they've done this is dwindling revenue. Because you see more and more shows pop up, so obviously Sony don't necessarily need to feel the need to push so much. Obviously you've got Gamescom as well, which gets some really big news. TGS, which has always been massive.
Nintendo are hit and miss at whether they show up anymore.
Again, they'll take games to the show, but that's about it. They won't actually do anything at the show. They've got their directs or tree houses now. But yes, obviously going back to the initial point, 15,000 tickets, they're going to be $250 each, which works out around £200. Or if you get in on the 13th of February, they will be £150. Sorry, $150, so that's about £120.
So it's like early bird.
Yeah,
Nice.
the early bird special. Well, I was remarking to you earlier, I think there's going to be many girlfriends this year that aren't getting their ring, bracelet, Ugg boots,
dental work,
whatever it is, because their boyfriends or partners are going to go, I could get that and save myself the hassle, or
baby, I've emptied your bank account.
I could go to E3. Yeah, I'm going to go to E3. But I don't know, I look at that and think, if I lived in America, or specifically in the LA region, or anywhere around that, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But it's still going to cost me $1,500 to get there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I saw some of the clips of this, and I saw, at least some images of your typical E3.
And these ones that from recent years, they're somewhat dwindling numbers as
well.
Yeah,
and it was just press, wasn't it? But, they were showing the Horde moving into the front of a very similar-esque entrance, and it was 4 escalators, and the people were as wide as the room and as long as the room, and it was just like, oh my God, that's just a meat grinder.
3 days of that in a hot, sweaty...
That's going to smell bad.
Yeah.
It's 3 days of going, excuse me, sorry, can I just nip past? Thanks.
How bad is it going to be to be British there?
Excuse me. Oh no, after you.
No. That was my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, let me go to the back of the queue.
Yeah. Sorry, it's my fault. You rode over my wheel with your fat American ass.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's funny actually. If you think about it, we would be in our element because the queues.
Oh yeah. If you like say like a queue, then
bloody good queue.
Yeah, that's it.
I do like a bloody good queue.
Did you ever see that Stephen Fry like England video? Like sort of this is why England's great kind of thing. Sort of I think it was one of these promotional videos, and it is just going about queues and stuff. And there is just Stephen Fry and this random. No, after you. No, please.
I insist.
I insist.
Yeah.
That was it. It's always the I insist.
So, bullet hole number 2
for you.
It is indeed. We've got the Chaos Child Choo Choo.
Or Love Choo Choo.
Coming shortly.
Which now I say out
Phrasing
loud,
boom.
I see it now.
It's the Love Choo Choo.
Yeah, I totally get that now.
So, we've recently talked about Galgun Double Piece and
the Japanese influence.
And yeah, the whole very Japanese style game-esque kind of feel. I'm speechless. Right, so for the listener, this is a game about...
It's a visual novel, isn't it? It's a spin-off of a...
It's a yes-no option-based game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. But it's just all about your character being the it's so wrong, the president of the school library, or sorry, school newspaper, I should say. And just... I don't get it. I think you've got to impregnate women or something.
But this is going by what we saw from the trailer. It's very much. So what's the message? What am I going to be doing in this game? Obviously, don't read Japanese, so that didn't help.
Yeah. But I mean, very rarely do I ever watch anything, and I'm just completely speechless.
It was very much of the watching you in the mouth and the
I had nothing. I was looking at it like a dog which had been showed a card trick. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I have no concept of how this is storyline. I see lots of inappropriate images, women stalkers with foam over them.
Because when we were, because then obviously you find out
with babies.
Then you find out obviously he's the school newspaper.
Yeah, which is,
and you're like, could have got away with it, but now it's just got creepy. I was saying earlier, wasn't it, that we've now both got to that age where we should be uncomfortable seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly that.
Like if you're some like 18, 19-year-old dude, fuck it, who cares? You know, it's just a drawing. It's a pretty good drawing. Yeah. But now you're just like
weathered by the world. You know that's all just a little bit cringeworthy.
But I was saying to you there, I've somewhat been desensitized to all of that. Well, obviously I've been hoovering up anime left, right, and centre.
I guess so. Yeah,
so it's pretty much standard fare. I think that's what they call fan service.
Yeah, I dip my toe into the pool of anime occasionally and go, oh, that's a bit nippy, and pull it out again. You've had a bit of a swim, and
I know it's basically, I wouldn't say a swim. It's more of a picked up by the scruff of the neck, thrown in, and then me like scrambling because I can't swim. Like, please, somebody just throw me a life raft, please.
Inappropriate.
I was telling you one about porn. I was telling you one about last week, and like it was really good, interesting story. I liked it, and then it gets creepy, and you're like, "Am I watching the same thing?"
Yeah, well, but that's exactly
the problem with this whole thing with the visual novels.
Well, I mean, I looked at this and I was asking myself a few questions, like, you know, how is this pervy shit really permissible? It's about schoolgirls getting what looks like getting pregnant. There's babies, there's scantily clad, it's all of an inappropriate age for me. And all of this was going around in my head just thinking, this is wrong, I don't get it,
it's out 30th of March.
And then I just thought, pre-order. And then I was like, well, actually, do you know what? How old am I now? Have I hit an age now where I was like, I couldn't possibly watch it, I think it's wholly inappropriate. And I was making reference.
That's it, the moral outrage.
Yeah, exactly. I was sitting there thinking, being morally outraged at the amount of cleavage shots and all. I was like, maybe that's just how the youngsters are dressing these days. And I thought, have I hit that age?
Yeah. As well, basically, is there an entire generation between us and the next?
It's anyway. This game. I mean, when's it coming out?
30th of March.
Yes, 30th of March. But should we encourage people to know that? Not really.
Oh, right. I should have really told them.
So just imagine you don't know that because you're not interested in it. Don't want to buy it. Don't go there.
But it's been developed by Majors and it's published by 5PB.
Right, stop it.
I'm just being
a journalist.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. All right, busting over to our third bullet hole, Link. What we got?
I kind of lost my train of thought from that.
It's a delay. It's a delay, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, the fractured butthole has been delayed. It's been pushed back.
What, the fractured butthole?
Yeah. Obviously, it's the latest financial reports from Ubisoft. And obviously one of the footnotes on there that it has been pushed back to the fiscal year 2017 to 2018, which is a delightfully narrow term, meaning any time after April.
Yeah.
Until April of 2018. So
when we delay it again,
we've got a release window of an entire year. Exactly a year.
Pretty much, yeah. Great work, guys.
Yeah.
So now, if I remember correctly, Matt and Trey said,
"Don't worry, guys, we've got this.
We've got it down. Right, we've done it before. We didn't realise quite the difficulty of making a game, but now we've got it down." And then they delayed the shit out of the first game, didn't they?
I had some awful delays. But I think though, at the end result, whilst frustrating of the time it took, was still well worth the wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an idea about this earlier, and it kind of just twigged. But the problem with the first one was the fact that they would like, "Oh, right, this is it. This is brilliant. This is great," and then they'll go away for a month, and they'll come back, and they'll be like, "Yeah, sorry guys, we thought something even better." And with obviously the hot political climate with the Americas going on at the moment, I can't help but just think they've kind of gone, "Holy shit, this is too much of a golden opportunity. We can't not do this." Like some
look at
Barbara
his hair.
Streisand-esque Godzilla. I'm disappointed that it's delayed, but I kind of hope that it's for a great comedy reason.
I hope so as well, but I was really looking forward to this, and I was really looking forward to playing it at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And then it got delayed to March, and I was like, right, okay, it's 3 months, I can wait. And now they've just like blown it back out the water again. It's like
it's just picked up and just kicked into fucking touch.
Yeah.
It's just like, where is it landing? And even Ubisoft are just like, pass?
It is like somebody's just taken the launch date and gone, volley!
It is, it's one of those, because there was always that kid at school, wasn't it, that you'd be playing a serious game and someone just runs in, grabs the ball and just fucking wallops at one. And that is the launch
window.
Yeah. Or the release date.
Amazing.
Well, I think...
Yeah, on that note...
it's left us a good place to head off. Final footnote, though, gutted, because obviously saw the RC Kuhn Mobile Super Deluxe Edition that I didn't even realise.
Yeah, didn't know about it.
How pissed off would I have been now, then?
Yeah, so you'd be waiting even longer for your
fucking right. It's like... Fuck the game, just send me my RC remote control Kuhn Mobile.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
Anybody thinks we're just being horribly politically incorrect here. I mean, I don't know, via proxy we may be, but the main thing is that go to Amazon, look for the RC Kuhn Mobile. That is a special edition with the South Park fractured butthole.
That's good. We did even check. We made sure that we quoted it as sold. So
RC,
like you say, if we are being horrific, it's by proxy.
That's right.
And we'll blame somebody else.
Let's get on to the beef.
Yes.
Let's go. Oh, we are on what is the beef, Chief. It's all about getting a little bit shitty about stuff, a little bit pissed about what's going on in the gaming world.
I think it's a case of allow you to vent one's frustrations and angers here, so you're not doing it from the top of a clock tower with somewhat high-powered machinery. Yeah,
I don't want to go all sort of American postal worker,
No, that's it. I think you've got to let these things out in a positive, constructive way.
Not a semi-automatic carbine assault rifle kind of way.
That's it. Yeah.
So I'm beefing up this week on dashboards. I know I come back to dashboards often, but like... Oh, dashboard wars.
Considering it's the main hub of any fucking console,
so
it's a bit of an important one.
Do you know what? I have this belief, right? It's a certain rule I live by in my life, which is anything that you interact with regularly, could it be your phone? Could it be like, I don't know, your TV?
Home screen on your computer?
Yeah, all those sorts of things. Just take the time and effort to get something which is really optimized to make your life easy, because you can use it so often over such a long period of time that cumulatively it could have actually quite a detrimental effect to your free time if you're fucking about.
Let's, for example, say you're wasting 5 minutes every day fucking about with the settings because it won't save them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, that's 5 minutes every day for the rest of your life, or for the lifespan of that product, and then you're getting into days of your life that you're spending fucking about with this stuff that should just be set in stone.
You got it exactly that. So things such as when I've had experiences like, let's say for example the Xbox 360, not a particularly powerful console by any sort of means of the imagination, I would also say it wasn't the most smoothest running console in the world. It did have bugs, it did crash regularly, but what they did do is they managed to get a dashboard which just functioned very well. They came out with that sort of mini blade control system when you hit the middle button, and you could just hop between what you were downloading to what's in your disk tray.
It was pretty much
friends,
the whole front screen,
parties,
but in that little square, wasn't it?
You got it.
And it, like you say, it was a bit janky.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it worked.
It worked. And when you have an upgrade of power, I'm thinking things are going to run faster and smoother and slicker, more accessible. And it's just not the way that it's going.
No.
There are, we commented, a little bit around the differences between the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Yeah.
A little bit about the Xbox One being a media machine, yeah?
That's what they've sold it from day one as a multimedia device. This is the hub of your living room.
But the problem being is that I think if you look in just the gaming community, so obviously people who own a console, right? Most of these people, or a lot of these people, in some way or another, are going to be living with someone else, whether it's a parent or a wife or a sibling or a child,
a partner
or
a lover,
or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Or whatever the appropriate classifications are on government websites these days. Common law partner or something? Yeah, love it all. But anyway, more importantly, the thing is there's going to be somebody else there who ain't interested, probably doesn't play video.
Who doesn't want to watch you try and get through 50 levels of Gears Horde mode.
I think it was most diplomatically put to me when somebody once said, playing video games is like the anti-pussy. It's just you're never ever going to share this information with the rest of the world who aren't interested in it. It's just no good. I've got to pass this boss on that level.
Some birds. It's not like some birds' knickers are just literally at the speed of sound just going to just fly off, and she's just going to launch at you. She's like, oh my god, you got through level 50.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Well, you've re-upped in Gears of War? Oh my god, that's amazing. No, it doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen. So that means the console ends up being in a separate location to the main room, which is for TV and people to lounge and laze about and all. So therefore, I don't need a multimedia device.
What is the
games
Xbox?
console.
What is it classified as?
Well, it's apparently it's a games console.
But yeah,
but it's not pitched as a games console.
Not by Microsoft, but everywhere that sells it. If you look under the where it is in their range of products, it's in technology game consoles.
Yeah, you got it.
So again, like we were saying, PlayStation, you turn it on and it's first and foremost a games console.
Yes.
I don't get that feeling with the Microsoft one. I mean, I've had this issue since it goes back to Metro.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the second generation of dashboards.
Metro, you're talking about
the 360 dashboard, which is obviously what kind of inspired the design for the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas obviously the PlayStation 4 is just a slightly better version of the PlayStation 3 menu. It's exactly the same.
So need to change that.
But the only problem with the Xbox is it's almost like my dashboard now has become a high street for whoever Microsoft has taken money off of.
Yeah, exactly that.
And it would be fine if it was like where Google are smart and they're like, oh, you looked for that. We'll put that in your adverts.
That's right, yeah.
So at least it's targeted. I'm not going to go through and go, oh, fucking why are you showing me pictures of big purple wangs?
Yeah.
Wait, did I search for pictures of big purple wangs?
I was going to say, it's on Google.
But it's that whole thing, if you're showing me shit that I'm not interested in, like you were saying, the store, and the first, 70% of it's movies.
Yeah, so I've got a major issue with
Microsoft a fucking entertainment company? No, they shut that division down because it was making them buck all.
I pay an amount each year to have an Xbox Live connection.
Oh,
to be advertised to.
Yeah, I don't get me fucking started on that one. That drives me up the fucking wall. If you was to offer it to me for nothing, but you've got ads, okay, fair enough. But I pay you to be on this service, and no, I don't give a shit. Have this fucking rammed down your throat.
You're paying for their advertising.
Yeah. I feel like I'm some cunt who's gone and bought a Dolce & Gabbana t-shirt and paid twice as much for what it actually is. A fucking t-shirt.
It's really painful to go to the store section on a games console and see more than 50% of it covered in other media other than video games. I mean, the fact that I have to go down to the games section and then there's a nice little square for me to select new games or recent or coming soon games, and it's just like, that's fine, but shouldn't that be on the store front? I'm here to play games. Yeah. It's a games console.
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry, I'm over beefing that, but I just, for me, just let me personalise it. If I could personalise it, if I could just say, do you know what?
When you set it up, what is your primary use for this console? Games, media consumption, a mixture of the two. That way then the console can go, right, games front and centre. Mm-hmm. And then off at the sides, we'll put some media. But no, it's purely a games console, it'll be games alone. Anything to do with games, whether it be like a video game movie, fine, stick that in there because it's gaming related. Mm-hmm. Fine, go with that. As long as it's gaming related, I've got no problems. But the fact is, you're trying to sell me fucking some dribbly shit that I've got no interest in. Oh, I'm going to go and pay £19 for a digital copy of a high definition fucking movie. No, of course I'm not. I'm not a cunt.
No. Smoke Whirlpool.
So just stop selling me shit that I've got no interest in.
And do you know what? For me, it's as simple as people want speed and they want functionality, right?
And a bit of Charlie as well.
Yeah. The main thing is you're completely confusing what we're here for. Well, get it right. Just get it right.
I think it goes back to that classic design acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. Less is more. I'd rather have less shit on the screen and more processing power for it to run those lesser things and run them well. I mean, the fact is they're having to change the guide again because it slows down too much.
Well, I've just been running the beta, right? Yeah. The new Xbox dashboard beta.
Oh yeah, how's it been fucking up your games as well?
So it completely screwed me out of Dishonored 2. It just went packed up its balls and went home for the day, effectively leaving me on the green screen just of its own accord. It just went, I'm sorry, I've had a moment, I'm going to have to restart completely. But do you want me to press the button to No, I'm fucked.
It's one of those, it's almost like on Dragon's Den when you see the person, they just freeze and they're like, would you like to go out and come back in? And they sort of
just
yes please.
It was exactly like it was like it was saying, take me drunk, I'm home. It's fucked. It just doubled up and died on me. So it was doing that. It was putting all sorts of fucking weird text up. So trying to save my games and apps, and it just warped all the text into something completely wrong. Just running like a pig.
So
I know it's a beta, but it's running like a pig.
Yeah. So it's going to be a few more months, I think, until the general public gets to see that one.
Gets the same pleasure that I'm having right now.
How is with the new guide, though?
It's better. It's better, but it's still like, here's the last 4 things which came up. It's like, well, I don't need the last 4 things which came up. I need the last 4 things I played the most of.
Yeah, that's it. So like you say, it's fine if you're playing the same 3 or 4 things over and over again. But then if you say, for example, your nephew or a relative comes around and uses your console, they might have watched iPlayer, they might then watch Netflix. And
always at the front of my PlayStation 4 screen is Galvan Double Peace. And on that note, folks,
forever, ever there.
We're going to move on to a bit of uncharted territory. It's uncharted territory, folks. It's that place where we ramble and stumble around the gaming world. This week we've got a couple of games that have been of a similar ilk.
On the horizon.
Yes, indeed.
Well, it's again another Ubisoft beta this week.
Yeah, so we had a bit of For Honor, and it was playing over this weekend, finishing today, I believe. It's interesting actually. This is a game in which, when I looked at it, it definitely twinged certain strings for me.
We've always, since obviously they showed off, was it not last year at E3, it's the year before last, it's always been one of those ones that you're like, I'm interested, I want to know more, I want to see how it plays, I want to get my hands on it first before I can really make a concrete decision on it.
So, I mean, whenever I look at games sort of remotely, it's mostly based on the imagery that I see and the overall premise of what I understand the gameplay to be. With this, I had no real good grasp of what the gameplay would be, but I did have a lot of feeling from the imagery of, obviously, see large amounts of people, you see the kind of brutality of some of the kills, you see the characters that sort of, that you get to play.
It's a very visceral game, isn't it?
Yeah, and equally, I think graphically as well, I got a bit of a flavour also about sort of the complexity of the models, so how big the world is because of the complexity of how detailed the characters are and such like. So all of these things, it had my interest, and I thought if they can do a really large scale fighting, like storming a castle style game with some really brutal fighting systems which works really solidly, I'm not too worried graphically. This could be pretty good,
I've always been, especially for the last sort of couple of generations, as long as the graphics are good enough for what it needs to be. Like look at, say, Hyper Light Drifter. It doesn't need to be overly flashy and all of that, because I think it sells it better. It does its job perfectly for what it needs to be.
I agree, yeah.
So then you've got the extra power to put it elsewhere, so you can make grander levels and more enemies on screen.
I'm equally focused on things such as game design, aesthetic, colours wise and stuff like that, music, all those sorts of things. I completely agree. If you can catch the right mood with the game, then you don't need a huge amount of graphical horsepower. If there are certain instances where it's almost a staple of it, like a lot of the Naughty Dog stuff, then you do need it,
Yeah.
But either which way, For Honor, so I gave this thing probably about half an hour, sort of just gave it a little bit of a flavour of what the tutorial's like, give me the crux of the gameplay. It's definitely done some interesting stuff, actually. I was quite surprised.
Again, because obviously I was just my first question for you would have been, how does it play?
Well, I always...
sort of run me through what you've played.
So the premise of... for me, with these sorts of fighting games, is I always think of them kind of like Dark Souls-esque, where you lock onto one enemy, you move back and forwards, left and right around them, and hit attacks. Hit them, work your way through their block.
A bit of a dance.
You got it, yeah.
To get where you need to go, really.
Exactly that. And with this, so for me, I always think, well, first-person shooters, the staple is set now. Whether it's turn-based games, whether it's, a racing game, the premises are all pretty much set as to what...
Your basic mechanics, like we were talking about, aim down sight. Every first-person shooter has aim down sight now.
Even Halo's managed to get there in the end.
Yeah.
So, it was quite a surprise for me when I was playing For Honor that actually there was a different type of fighting system in there. Or at least one that I hadn't sort of played in any mainstream games for quite a while.
Basically, you're not just sort of stuck to sort of 2 or 3 face buttons being heavy attack, light attack, and special attack.
Exactly that.
So it's a bit more of a variety.
Well, basically,
a different mix up on that.
Yeah, you still lock onto your enemy, but you can choose your sort of formation for how you hold your weapon.
Yeah.
So to your left or to your right or to sort of above your head, and depending on this sort of like downward facing triangle choice of stances that you have, it automatically blocks the equal position on the other side. So if you're on your left, enemy's on its right, then when they go to attack, you'll automatically block it. And equally, if you attack them, they'll do the same. Which means you're left in this sort of two-way decision of, do I block it or do I go to the other side to attack them, or above?
Am I going to get the attack in first, kind of thing?
Exactly, yeah. And even the sideward stepping, the parrying is very sort of minor. It's a lean rather than a sort of a bound out the way. So if you don't hit it bang on right, they're going to catch you.
Yeah.
So it's quite intense from that point of view, and I quite like that idea.
So it's trying to be a bit more of a realistic, that every swing has a consequence. And you don't basically just go in there blindly swinging like a madman.
Exactly. I mean, you can end up in a situation. It's not quite Bushido Blade style where sort of one strike and that's their arm off or they're dead. It's still a health bar to knock down, but there's definitely this almost dare I not say rock paper scissors, but it's almost like rock paper sort of, if that makes sense. A two-way sort of, either you're blocking or you're attacking.
Yeah.
And light and heavy attacks, all that sort of stuff, grabs to sort of break through guards. You only ever seem to fight, well, from the experience I've had so far, like either one-on-one or you're working your way through sort of a dynasty-style warriors,
a
posse of enemies to push the group forward to then get to the boss battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So just from a gameplay point of view, it was definitely interesting. I don't know if I would want to play like that a lot. Dare I say? Do you know what I mean? I found it interesting, but
I think a lot of games are like that nowadays, though. Unless it's something really that entices you about the whole game itself. There's so many that you're like, yeah, I'll play it for half hour. Yeah, I had fun with it then. If I played it anymore, I'd probably get bored.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying... I can see people massively getting into it and going around rocking some badass Viking, just ripping people up and being like
How many people spend their Saturdays dressing up like said Vikings or knights and going to parks around the world and meeting other like-minded people and having
cosplay,
medieval battles.
Gameplay, yeah.
So, it's not a new thing, and I think it's good that we're getting a variety of these kind of games, and it's not just a Dark Souls rip-off with a medieval flavour. It's good.
Do you know what I think the main thing is that they put a good level of variety with the fact the character sets. So you've got obviously the Viking, you've got the samurai, you've got a knight, and you can choose which faction you want to work for. So that's pretty sweet.
But would you say the fighting system is up to snuff?
Yeah, I mean, all in all, it allows a good level of having to read the other person. I mean, I'm not so fussed about the Dynasty Warriors hacking through just weakened enemies who don't really do any damage to you. But the one-on-one stuff's pretty cool. What I didn't get about it is that they, I mean, I'm slightly off topic here, but it seems like it's mostly orientated around multiplayer. I like a solid storyline with a campaign that I've just got to cut my way through and build my character up. I like a bit of that. And if I can do it with other people, like 4 players or something like that,
I was just about to say, if it was a co-op kind of thing that you would quite happily wade through with 2 or 3 of your mates and let's sack this, let's raise this castle, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I'm of that time of my life that we've talked about it before, that I just can't be arsed with all the stress and the hassle of if you beat someone really badly, they constantly just whine at you, or they're calling you a cheater or a modder, or then you come up against some little kids who are just cheating and modding, and it's just frustrating, and I can't be bothered to deal with all of that, and I can't be bothered with the strain. So it's been nice if there was just a good sort of single straight co-op element.
Yeah, I think people got too caught up in what they can do in multiplayers now and forgotten about main storylines, but we do digress a little.
So graphically, how did it look? Exactly
the same as the imagery. I mean, it doesn't look anything special, but there is some pretty brutal hacking and slashing going on in it.
Because which platform did you play it on?
Xbox One.
Xbox One.
Yeah.
Because do we know if there's going to be a PS4 Pro?
I believe there is.
Yeah.
A sweetener for your Pro users.
Yeah, because I know they're obviously going higher textures and stuff, aren't they, with the 4K texture packs? So, sound-wise?
It's definitely got that whole sort of smashing of swords together,
nice sort of atmospheric sound. So you've all got your sounds of things falling down,
going on. I mean, it does give you a good atmospheric feel. Although I wouldn't say there's a very grandiose sort of element. So when you play games like Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff, you've got the huge armies and like the almost oncoming wave,
and then you hear the. Like, oh god, here it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the majesty and the, like you say, the
I haven't felt any of that in this.
There's no sort of, like you say, grandiose.
It's almost just on to your next multiplayer match.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay. Yeah. So but no, all in all, I'd say go check it out if the beta's still open now, which it should be. If you can give it a shot, do.
Money no object. Would you buy it tomorrow if you had the option?
No.
No.
And that's mostly because of what else I'm playing right now.
Yeah. It's not because you dislike it. It's because you just haven't got the time, and it's not good enough to kick anything out of the way. Yeah,
it's. I think the main thing is that core mechanic of like blocking forward or left or right. Generally, I'm more interested in a sidestep and a combo or something, or a parry or
I think a bit more of an old school.
Dare I say? I mean, I like the idea. I like the fact they've done something different. People don't sort of experiment enough with this sort of stuff, and for a larger game like this to have that investment to go to something different, I think it's risky, and I like that, but it's not for me.
No, it's a shame, but that's the way of it. Hopefully, it does get picked up because, like you were saying, it's good to see that people are trying new stuff. I mean, it looks very similar in terms of the fighting system that Absolver's got as well, I think.
Yep.
But again, that's got Kung Fu, so I'm instantly 50% more interested straight away. There was only one faction on For Honor that I would have fought at anyway. So
Samurai.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's gonna get 2-3 months in, and it's just gonna be, wow, there's a barbarian. Wow,
cool.
People actually play as them.
Good for them.
But so
So the other game, which has really been sort of the flagship choice for this week,
the dethroner of Skyward Sword.
Yeah, and do you know what? I really didn't see this come. I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be a good game, but because of the nature of it, I just thought, but I'm probably not going to be one of the people playing it.
Yeah.
Neo, on PlayStation 4, this is a Dark Souls-esque game.
You could say somewhat inspired.
Yeah, I mean, it plays a big part of the general mechanics of what the game is about, how brutal the enemies are, although they don't stamp prepare to die all over it, prepare to die, because you are going to die a lot, but it's slightly more tailored in a Onimusha-esque kind of way.
Yeah.
For me, I think they picked a particularly peculiar character. It feels like what they've tried to do is bridge a world of, hey, Eastern Europeans, meet Western society, and it's okay. You can both buy this game and feel like it's your culture because...
We were looking into the story of William Adams.
Yes.
Because obviously I saw an article and it actually turns out that he is a real historical figure and a massively revered in Japanese history. I mean, he's one of the few Westerners to ever hold a title of samurai, which, going back to obviously the Edo period and all of those times, it is a massive had
Yeah, given 2 swords by the shogun. That's quite the honour, really.
Wasn't it? He was told he had to renounce his name of William Adams to then, obviously, as they stated, that man has died, and I can't remember the Japanese title that he was then given. Yeah,
but he's effectively widowing his wife as well back in the UK.
Obviously, and then he then took on a Japanese wife as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but what he did do, and this character's quite interesting because he was in a time when you think, right, so he's moved on and probably hated back in the UK where he was based, but actually back in Japan where he's now living, very honoured, very revered. But he was still sending money back through the East India Trading Company, back to the Dutch India Trading Company for his family back in the UK. So obviously still a man of honour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so can I just say right now, the game's amazing. The accent is bollocks.
Especially when you find out the guy was from East Anglia more than he was
Gillingham.
Ireland.
Yeah. Kent.
Slightly wrong side of the country, but close enough.
They made him, Irish, kind of Welsh, Midlands, Wiltshire.
He kind of reminds me of the...
Pikey.
Yeah, kind of from Snatch. Do you like dogs?
Do you like dogs?
Do you like dogs? What? Oh yeah, I like dogs. But the character from Kenway from Black Flag, and it's got that. Obviously, he was Welsh, that chap, but it was that very much sort of Plymouthy, West Country, Welsh. I'm kind of just bastardisation of this whole entire region. I mean,
it's probably actually quite accurate from a sort of era point of view. And I'm sure when you play it in sort of, Japanese culture or even America, they probably just go, oh, that's a quirky accent.
Oh, that sounds like a funny British accent. Yeah.
But over here it's a bit like, it comes across as a bit like you've got this badass... So, I mean, just to give you an idea, right? You've got loads of different weapons in this game. I'm currently rocking a main sort of Marimasa-esque style samurai sword. Yeah. And 2 dual-wield swords. So this guy's packed with like Hong Kong movie style sword samurai warrior, yeah, and he's there like, no, you're not going to do a bit of that, are you? No, yeah, you freaky bastard. And you're like, that's not really what I want from my character.
No, that's it.
In Japan samurai era.
We were remarking about how similar to Geralt of Riviera he looked.
Yeah.
And like you see the character, and he's got this grizzled, gritty kind of non-accent.
Talks like this.
Yeah, but
Snake Plissken sort of stuff.
Yeah, but he's got that sort of gruffness, but it kind of, you look at it and you think, yeah, that's the kind of voice that he would have.
Yeah.
You look at it and you can't expect him to go, oh, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
My name's Geralt. Or even sort of some Dubliner or something like that. It just fits, but you look at it and it kind of does ruin it.
If you can just get past that, if you can, the game's pretty good.
I was just actually just about to get on some actual questions as opposed to some ramblings.
Yeah.
Is it just a Dark Souls clone though?
I would explain it as 4 parts Dark Souls, 1 part Onimusha. So it's the enemies that you fight, the world environment that you're in, the sort of chance of getting your ass kicked opposed to the whole sort of having to learn movesets, dark miserable environment, all of that sort of culminates to this feels like Dark Souls, but then the combo system and the weapon stuff, the upgrades feels more attuned to sort of an Onimusha style.
You can definitely tell it's a Team Ninja game.
Very much so. It's got that Ninja Gaiden-esque, you best nail this combo to smash the shit out of this person.
Or you're going to be dead.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But again, I was going to say, is it necessarily a bad thing that it's copying a sort of a Dark Souls template?
You know what, so I can, for the general public, I'd say no, definitely not. For me, I'd say hell yeah, because like Dark Souls for me was an absolute bitch. I played that game, I got my ass kicked like repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, and I wouldn't say I didn't progress, but it was at snail's pace and it was hard work, and every time I got to a save point it was like, holy fucking shit, it's like coming up for air,
Yeah.
And I personally am not massively into that sort of style gameplay, so for it to be a bit like that, I was like, that was the quandary as to whether I was going to buy it or not. I was like, I'm sure it's a great game, but will I enjoy it?
It's one of those, isn't it? It's the quandary that says, right, it looks good enough to buy, but am I going to play it more than once? You're going to put it in, you think, this is really great, you can get to that point where like, this is the first level. I'm struggling on the first level. So,
without ruining the game too much for anybody, in the first instance, you are one-on-one with an enemy, as you would be in these sorts of things. Now, you're with fists, they've got a sword. And I got my ass kicked like 4 or 5 times. And it wasn't, it didn't go on for ages. It was like 5 minutes later, I'd beaten the character. But it was like, right, this is going to set the sort of the tone of the game. Then, all of a sudden, I'm hacking people up, cutting my way through them, and getting past sort of the main chunk of the tutorial bit. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I've got this shit down par. I'm dicking everyone. I can progress through this game. It'll be a bit more sort of Resident Evil difficulty than Dark Souls. I can do this. Then I hit the first proper level, and it was just, although I could progress quite easier than Dark Souls, there is still, and you're dead, go again.
You are very much against it.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way. Everything is planned to basically make you break and crumble and go, I just don't want to fucking play it.
Yeah, there's definitely that element of it.
Yeah. Graphically, any good? Is it a pretty game?
She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's pretty. I mean, she is take Dark Souls, take a very dark game, which is mostly about water effects, torches, blood, mud, huts, which are all brown. So in that dark, dank, dreary world, I would say this is Dark Souls 2.0 sort of graphics. It just runs better, it's smoother, it feels more solid. A lot of the environment is destructible, albeit it's still placed units in the environment rather than a destructible sort of hut or something like that. But there is a lot of it going on. Collecting stuff works well. The graphical user interface is really easy to use, clear to identify what sort of your new item or not. Yeah. So all those sorts of things works really well from a just general pretty feel aesthetic.
From an visual standpoint.
It just feels optimised overall, yeah. Very, very cool.
What's the sound like?
It's got all the important ka-ching sort of moments that you
nothing
need.
too good music.
Atmospheric enough, but once again, nothing too sort of
distracting,
carrying you. You know, it's just it's a bit wallpaperish, but that's what you need it to be when you're completely focused.
Yeah, I was
going
to say you're not really too concerned with music and those kind of things, are you? Because you're just like, please don't stab me in the face, please don't stab me in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about stabbing in the face, the weapons. So one of the first things that you're asked at the beginning is to decide what sort of samurai you would be. Would you be, what's your primary weapon? So all of the weapons are pretty damn interesting. They've got some good variety in there. You've got spears. Apologies for anybody who knows how to pronounce this properly. It's got the kasuyagis, which are the sort of the sickle connected with the chain and the ball weight on the end, which is a really interesting mix of like distance and speed. You've got like the twin swords, as I said, the katanas. You've got like spear for keeping people at distance and doing quite heavy damage. You've got the big axes for just pure hacking your way through. All of these things sort of work really well for like being, I want to sort of barrel my way through, I want to be a bit pokey from a distance.
Well, I suppose it varies with the enemies as well, isn't it? Because this is very much the case of, it's not so much of pick your weapon, pick your combo, and fucking down, head down and off you go, is it? It's a lot more like with For Honoured, it's a more of a measured, you've got to approach certain enemies, will obviously benefit from certain tactics.
Yeah, so
the weapons will be more beneficial than others.
100%. You know, you go up against a guy with a big massive axe. You try going in with a katana or something like that. He's just more powerful. He's going to deflect you off. So if you're not either going in with an axe or something really quick to like jab him up a bit, then you're not going to be as successful. And they do this clever little thing where you hold down the R1 button and move either left or right on the D-pad for your melee weapons, or up and down for your ranged weapons. So you can change your weapons on the hop. It asks you to select like two weapons. First, your primary, what's you're mostly interested in, and then your secondary as what else would you like.
So it's the kind of thing that you'd be smashing away with the katana, quick switch into, say, the double axe. I've got your defences down with the speed, now I can wallop the fuck out of you now I've got your guard down.
Yeah, and I'd also say there's a good element of, I mean, it's still a very quick paced game, really quick, and that's why people like over Dark Souls. I felt when I was playing Dark Souls it was quite sort of like hack, you know, this sort of kind of like pace of game. Where with this, it's like bang, 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 very Team Ninja, bang, 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 you know.
There's that quick repetitive gameplay that they've obviously grown to be known for.
Yeah, and all the movesets in there, you know, combos. There's some great finishers where, you know, like you bust someone up with a couple of hits, put them to the floor, stick the sword in them, twist it, you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, lopping off limbs, or at least doing the move to sort of, you know, take people out by the neck and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, very, very cool stuff.
How was like the level design? How did they all move through?
So once again, like, you know, underpinning this with it's dark and it's dreary and it's all like that, which is all the things I don't, you know, like your typical Resident Evil environment. I don't particularly like things like that. I want them to be a bit more interesting, but somehow they've done this great job at just making the levels incredibly engaging. Like every moment you are like, what's around this corner and where do we go? And not in a jumpy kind of way. You've got room to fight. But they just, you know, you're different level, different heights, but equally you can backtrack easily if you need to hop down. You know, they're just clever in how they've built the levels. Really good stuff.
There's a lot of nooks and crannies and hidden stuff, isn't there? And there's very much a sense of there's an awful lot that you're not shown.
Yeah, I mean, there's been also a couple of instances where I walked into a village where I've seen like a couple of people sort of chilling by a fire, and I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm going to go up behind them and throw a rock at the back of their head and all this sort of shit. But out of the door from the hut next to me, some guy comes out and goes, and you're like, oh shit, bang, bang. So, you know, it, like I said, they do some clever things to engage you in the levels, and, you know, I really like a lot of that. One other thing I should say as well, active reloads. You know, I've always got this thing that Gears came up with an active reload on you know, you hit the reload button, you've got the time bar that it moves along, you hit the sweet spot and it happens quicker or gives you a bonus. They've done this to make the gameplay more engaging with your stamina bar. So you finish your combo and you get like these little almost crystals of light build up around you to sort of like circles you and sort of tightens into like a ring around your character.
Yeah.
If you hit your like reload button at just the right time, it boosts how quickly you get your stamina back and sort of pulls a lot of it back quicker.
Does he do it something like really cool? You know, like obviously samurai films where you do the swipe and then nothing moves and then he just taps the back of the blade and just the ring
drop
and just everything just falls. Is it something cool like that though?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's that cool. Sadly, it's more like a beam of light which comes out of you. But what I will say is, depending on what weapon you've got, bearing in mind my character at the moment is rocking like a katana and the dual sword. If you hit like the menu button, which is the big touch button in the middle of the controller, he'll like do some fancy shit where he spins his sword around and then puts it back into the sheath, or does the whole length and retract, or
nice.
or dual swords like turns them over and closes them like that.
Spot on.
So
there's some real fancy little flourishes and touches.
And also the other thing you can do with your motive icons. So what I've tended to do recently is when I dick a couple of guys and they're down, put the swords away in a fancy style, then hit the bow like a motive icon.
Nice.
So, just fuck you up with respect.
Respectfully, I fucking took off your face.
Yeah. So all in all, very very cool. Really enjoyed it.
Good value.
I would recommend to anybody who's willing to engage in some interesting combat. Put aside how much you die and put aside everything else. If you want some really good Team Ninja combat, go get that game. It's badass. And also, Link, you also had a little article on how to use sloth magic to make battles easier, shall we say?
Well, it is, isn't it? It's when it slows down enemies.
Yeah.
And certain bosses. I mean, I was reading an article in this one cat. He'd gone through it and he'd not used magic at all. And then obviously one of his colleagues had said, "No, seriously, dude, use this." And he's told him this combo of magic to use. So he's redone this same boss, which took him, I think, an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah, getting his ass kicked. Yeah.
Getting his ass kicked. And then, he's obviously got a video of it and shows you how quick the fucker moves.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, he's got all of his sloth magic up. And then he's done another one, and he's just like... It's like a typical GIF where he's got, like... The character's gone to swipe at him and he's just run. He's not even really done anything flashy. He's just moved. And he's just like, nope, not today.
Yeah.
And then he does it again. And he's like, still not today.
Yeah.
But good stuff though.
It's all I'm going to say is build that magic up, use it. This guy got to level 56 before he found out about this, and then had been slogging his way through the whole thing, and then found this out. It was just like, I can dick everyone.
I think all these Dark Souls games, Neo, all of these kinds of things, these are very much a case of use the experience of people before you.
Yeah.
Do not be ashamed that you've gone up and read up about these things. It's perfectly fine. Just because you know how to do these things doesn't necessarily mean you will then do them.
Yeah.
I always like to use the nuclear reactor. I may know how or read how to build a nuclear reactor. Doesn't mean I fucking can.
Or intend to try.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
a little dabble in the shed.
It's a good weekend hobby, isn't it?
And on that note, folks, there we are. It's another wrap for episode 46 this time, and good episode. Feeling the love, feeling the Neo. Just encourage people to get it. Any final thoughts for you, Link?
I think I need to learn how to read Japanese.
Okay, and on my final thought, that means that's probably because you're thinking about Chaos Child Choo Choo. Sorry, Love Choo Choo.
No, not necessarily Chaos Child, but you know.
Right, we're out. Take it easy, folks.